Why do you believe their lies? Why do you believe their false promises? Why do you believe the words that tell you one thing when the actions tell you something else? This is an important question for you to ask yourself when you are in the relationship with somebody who lies, somebody who misleads you, somebody who says things and then does not follow through, somebody who is not keeping their end of the relationship, and they're not doing what they need to do to be healthy or to be accountable or to be responsible or following through with what they need to do to fix the relationship or fix a problem that you have said that you cannot live with. Whatever it is, why do you believe them? Why? The first answer is you need to. You need to believe what they say because you can't face the opposite. One of the reasons that I said in a previous video that people sometimes lie is because they're in denial. They believe what they're saying. They think that they can get sober. They think that they won't lie again, or they won't do whatever it is that they're doing, that they're promising you that they'll stop. They believe it. Well, you have a need to believe that they're okay, that they're not an addict, or they're not abusive, or they're not lying to you, or they really are willing to work on the relationship and going to, even though their behavior shows you that they're not. So the first one is you need to. You can't face the truth. So you are choosing to allow yourself to be misled by words that are not true. And there's a part of you that knows it, but cannot come to terms with it. The second reason is that you couldn't and wouldn't do what they're doing. So you desperately want to believe the best about people. So you are choosing to be naive and to think, well, they couldn't really mean it. Again, this is an excuse, a rationalization that prevents you from having to deal with the truth. But because you wouldn't do it, you are choosing to believe that they really wouldn't do that they didn't mean to, that they didn't want to, that they really are trying. So you're putting yourself in their place and thinking, if I was in that situation, I would mean what I was saying. I wouldn't be telling a lie. Even if I had said I'd do it before and I didn't do it, this time I would be sincere. So you're choosing to believe that that person is sincere. The other one is you're being manipulated, and you just haven't figured it out. You're still falling for it. You're falling for the excuse. You're falling for the person being incapable or helpless or dependent, or the fact that they really are trying, even though they're not, or they're not an addict, or they're not cheating on you, or they're not a liar, or they really are trying to find a job, even though they're not looking at all. You're being manipulated, and you don't get it. And manipulation is simply somebody who's either telling you what you want to hear to get what they want, or they're threatening you, or they're misleading you, or they're pretending, or they're doing something that is twisting your desire, your will, your choice, your viewpoint, your perception somehow to get the end that they want, to get whatever it is that they want or need. They're not asking you directly. They're not saying, are you willing to do this? Can I have this? Will you do this for me? They're manipulating your emotions. They're manipulating your thoughts or your mind or your will somehow to get you to fall for it so that you will do it. And the other one is you're just simply a really trusting person. You don't ever choose to not believe someone. You're just gonna trust, you're gullible. That's not the nice way of saying it, but I'm gonna say it. You're gullible. Okay. I know people that are gullible. They just refuse to admit that anyone could ever have a malevolent motivation behind anything. So they believe everyone. Everyone is honest. Everyone is telling the truth. And if they ever do fall for a lie, these people will not admit that they fell for a lie. They'll make excuses. They'll just rationalize the person wasn't lying. The person was telling the truth. This was really supposed to happen. They won't say, you're right. I was lied to. I was manipulated. I was duped. They're just not going to do it. And the other reason is that you're just not ready to set a boundary and do what you need to do with this particular problem in the relationship. So until then, you don't want to deal with it. So you're just going to believe it. You're going to believe that person's telling you the truth, that the problem isn't really there, that everything's okay, until you're strong enough to set a boundary and deal with it in a way that protects you, in a way that keeps you from being lied to and manipulated, and in a way that you're strong enough to see the truth and be willing to deal with it and make a choice. So really, honestly, when you're dealing with somebody who's lying to you or their behavior does not match their words, the question that you need to be asking isn't, why are they misleading me? It's, why are you believing them over and over and over and over? Because you can't control them. You can't keep them from lying to you or making excuses or pretending or saying all kinds of things with their words to charm you, to mislead you, to misdirect you. They're telling you what you want to hear, telling you they'll give you whatever it is. I mean, that is just purely manipulation. It is purely wrong, unhealthy. But you gotta look at yourself. Why are you believing them? Why? When warning people about false prophets, when Jesus was here on earth, he told them basically, they're going to come. You're going to have them. There are people that are going to be unhealthy. They're going to manipulate you. They're going to tell you one thing and do another. They're going to be here. You have to pay attention. You've got a simple test, and this is it. You look at their fruit. Okay, you look at their behavior. You say, your words are telling me this, but your behavior tells me this. When I choose between words and behavior, when I have somebody who tells me over and over that something's going to happen and it hasn't happened, I've got to look at the track record. I've got to look at the behavior. When I have a choice, I listen not to the words, I listen to the behavior, because the behavior tells you what is truly in the person's heart. It tells you what the person is doing. Words can say anything. Behavior is harder to change. Behavior is going to be the thing that gives the person away. It's going to tell the truth. So you got to watch the behavior. You can hear the words, but then you pay attention to the behavior. You say, what is the fruit? Is this person bearing fruit in keeping with repentance? Is this person doing what the person said they would do? If the person says, and I get this all the time, my partner tells me, I want the marriage, I want the relationship, I don't want to get a divorce, I don't want to have a problem, I'll change. And then the person refuses to go to counseling, the person refuses to read a book, the person refuses to have a conversation, the person refuses to allow you to tell them what behavior is hurtful to you. Person refuses to be accountable for their actions, gets angry, is reactive, is blaming, is defensive. And yet, oh no, I want everything to be better. I don't want a divorce. So if you're going to think about separating, if you're going to end the relationship, that's on you. I'm trying, I'm open, I'm willing. Those are the words. What is the behavior? The words, easy to say, I'm trying, I'm willing. Harder to do the hard work, to go to the counselor, to look at your behavior, to change your behavior, to hear your partner tell you what's hurtful, to hear your partner tell you what is wrong, what needs to change, and to listen and have an open heart and be open to rebuke, open to correction. Like all those scriptures and Proverbs tells us that a fool does not take correction, but a wise man does. A wise person hears correction and learns from it. A fool does not. So you have to basically figure out, what's the behavior telling me? Behavior communicates a message as strong or stronger than the words. The words say one thing, the behavior communicates a message to you. Words say, I'm going to change. Behavior says, not changing, continuing down the same path. Which do you believe? Pay attention to the fruit. The fruit is not the words. The fruit is what's growing. The fruit is what is being produced, what the person is showing you. That is what you need to pay attention to. Okay. So again, why? Why do you believe them? And what should you believe when there's a contradiction? When a person has a track record of lying continually to you, do you believe without proof? Do you stake your future? Do you stake anything important on those words without checking up, without seeing if there's proof that goes along with it, as to requiring somebody who's lying to you to show you that they're not lying this time? You've got to be wise in your relationships when you're dealing with people who are not being honest with you. So watch the fruit. The fruit is what you're going to get, not empty promises. The fruit, that is what you will get now and in the future. Watch the fruit. Thank you for watching this video on Change My Relationship. I've got over 450 videos. I've got studies. I've got books that I've written, including a 365-day difficult relationship devotional that people are absolutely loving. So check out my resources on my website, changemyrelationship.com, and I hope you'll come back and watch more videos. Thank you.